So today I'm going to be doing some amateur analysis of a game my team SL played against a team Beyond Esports. It's an online tournament called ISAT League. This is a game on train specifically. We ended up losing this game 16-14, but I thought Joe played this game really well, so we're just going to hop into it and see how he played. So this is a round 2 to 4. It's a round where me and Joe, Bripsy and Lep have saved 2 of our guns. The rest of our team are dead, so they have to force buy with P250s and just kind of save their economy. They don't have a lot to go for, hence why we have an aggressive peek here from Viscous to try and get some information in top holes. Doesn't end up working out, but it's a play you need to try and make in order to succeed in a round like this, because you're obviously down on any type of utility and obviously outgunned. Morgan makes a nice play here, pushing through team mid. The setup from the T's isn't great here because they're all throwing their smokes, no one's really watching for a push. But then there's specifically a nice play I like from Joe here as he pushes Ivy once he gets this information from Morgan, who shows that they're all kind of stacked up here first, just to make sure Ivy's clear, so when he comes back to push into the site, he knows that he can actually take it and fight it. We'll just speed this up here to normal speed. So Joe comes back knowing Ivy's clear, doesn't have to worry about it now, gets a nice peek there from the guy in Olaf, and then uses his utility nicely just to throw one flame E-box, a HE onto back red. Actually does 50 to the guy, and just plays quite passive. He knows that he has his teammate flanking from behind. It's again a nice shot there from stop sign to win the round. So those are the kind of plays he made there. We'll just go over it kind of quickly, what happened in that round. Basically he's just playing a very standard position. A lot of Awpers play Ivy. The way he's playing off info from his teammates basically, and Morgan making a nice play towards team mid, pushing through this position. I'll just kind of draw on the map. So he just pushed through this position, he saw that there was basically enemies there, which allowed then Joe to make a play running up through Ivy, just to quickly check if it was clear. It's a small play, but it's one worth noting, because if he didn't push in that position and he stayed here and continued to watch this, as Morgan was falling back, he could have just held this angle to try and help his teammate, but he would have been flicking between these 2 angles constantly. So making a push like that stops a problem from like that occurring, so he gets that aggressive position. He could have also pushed behind them, but with an AWP that's probably not the more favoured play, being that he needs to be there to support his teammates constantly. So he comes back then and just holds the the very common angles that an AWP holds from Ivy positions, and does well to hit the shots. So that's the first reason why I think Joe did well on this map. He played off his teammates well, used his utility well in the end, and that's the first round I'd like to highlight. The next round comes straight after, actually. It's this round. And it's just a B retake, so I'm going to go over very quickly how Joe plays this. We're also going to go over his timings as well. So firstly, we're just going to look at how he peaks this position. He plays this a lot. He will always come here. Sometimes he'll throw a smoke onto Ivy if he thinks they're making a lot of Ivy pressure. He'll peek this angle first just to get any early info, see if anyone's pushing teammate quickly. They're probably not going to push through a lot, but he would be able to get the kill. And then he peeks Ivy. This is actually a little bit later than he normally does it. Obviously he gets then the timing of that guy peeking there, gets a little bit of info that there's one team mid. Usually he'll peek Ivy at around the 142 mark, because that's the timing that the terrorists could be there with the best spawn if they run straight Ivy. So he has enough time, knowing if he has a good spawn from CT, that he can come, peek team mid first, then look at Ivy, and we'll have timing in which he can look at both from fairly safe angles. So now we're going to move on to the main portion of this round. It's a retake. Joe still has all his nades. He doesn't have to use any of them from Ivy, and he just coming here, he's playing really passive, he's holding, he ends up missing that shot there. He does actually tag him, it doesn't finish him off, but it doesn't matter. He's just holding upper for his teammates, playing quite passive, allowing his teammates to push into the rest of the bomb site, and just playing it really passively. Now it's late round, he can use his utility if he wants to, he doesn't need to, and can just really maintain map control, making sure that Very here with an AWP doesn't have a chance into making a play into this round. So this is another gun round. I wanted to point out it's 5-4. It's another full gun round. Both teams have full nades, 1 AWP each. This round Joe smokes Ivy, doesn't want to feel any pressure, just wants to focus towards team mid. They actually do come Ivy this round if you look at the radar. Joe gets a nice first pick there and gets flamed off the angle because they're aware that he's playing this angle a lot. He's not playing passive Ivy, he's playing very aggressive, so he counters their utility there. I actually get on top of green here just to make sure that we can cover this position while he's flamed off. And Joe's just moving around here, so he's gone for a very standard pattern that you'll see in AWPer like device move a lot. He's come out and around the train to be able to take another angle onto Ivy, basically holding the angle quite aggressively. Basically baits that one player there. I kind of missed it, but Joe holds this angle, peeks that there. Once the guy pushes and actually misses his shot, Joe just falls off, plays a really passive angle to see if anyone's pushed this. It's a slight mistake because I am holding this. Maybe I didn't communicate it in the round well enough. I don't exactly remember. But basically, I'll just pause this so I don't miss any more of the action. And I might actually go over this round again in a little bit more detail. But basically what happened there is Joe used a little bit of a bait setup to allow me to get an easy kill by drawing all the attention to himself. So just so you can see this round in from Joe's perspective without the map up, I'm just going to show you exactly what happened here. So he peeks to mid first, not worrying about Ivy, gets that kill and that guy peeking aggressively. It's pushed off of this angle by that flame. Reflames, so they can't immediately push through his smoke, tries to maintain that map control. Gives me enough time to push up onto this angle here. Joe then runs around, very common angle that you'll see awpers run. Come back around here to hold this angle. Again, doesn't really need to scope in there because I am here. Maybe it wasn't communicated well enough. But he holds this angle. There's an awper there that he gets flashed out. He's not blind. He's just kind of baiting them in with his footsteps. Allows me to get a free kill on the guy playing there. Joe then comes back around. Just weary of a guy having rushed out with that teammate. Again, it may have not been perfectly communicated that I'm still holding this angle as well. I actually missed that shot. So Joe then just hides bomb train. Holding for the push. It's a nice shot on that guy pushing there. Just really patient in how he awps basically and how he plays. And he's quite an aggressive player naturally, so it's quite good to see that he's able to mix up his play in that way. Just to look at the map and how that kind of played out there. He basically just ran this route and played around here, so he was able to peek Ivy from two different angles and then play around this bomb train, which meant he could have looked towards ladder, he could have looked towards Ivy. So he was playing off his teammate well there, the fact that I was up on this position. Looking down towards Ivy, he was using a little bit of a bait set for me to get the first kill quite easily and fall back. And then once I've died, he's able to use that information just to hold this angle and know that he's still got Morgan insight there, holding his aggressive pushes. So he's just playing off his teammates well, using his radar, using his utility quite well as well to flame off the Ivy push in the beginning there. And overall, just a good round from Joe. So this is the round I just wanted to include. It's not necessarily Awping on train, but I thought it was an interesting round. Definitely it's a fully go from us. We're pushing Ivy very aggressively, trying to take close quarter battles. And Joe gets 2 kills with a Glock, which is kind of insane that we're able to do this round. Just showing that, you know, he's kind of allowing his teammates to entry, knows that he will be able to hit those shots. Finishes up that round. We managed somehow to win this round. I have no idea how, but it was just a nice play from Joe. Something I thought I'd highlight. So this is a good T-side round from Joe here. Again, full buys from both teams. He's got a pretty good spawn to go for a peek. Not the best, but he is going to hold teammate aggressively here and just look towards stop sign. Playing quite passive angle, gets a nice kill there. Pushes out then, wants to kind of peek just before his teammates smoke pop, just so he can maybe get a little bit of information as to where the enemy players are. Pushes out, we do bump off each other a little bit. Peeks this angle, after making sure, importantly, the reason why that kill was so important, obviously now he's died, but he's kind of done his job for this round, is that we didn't have a smoke for this side of the bomb, and it wasn't necessarily intentional. The smoke was supposed to land there, but that's the way in which it played out. So in order to try and cross this angle, there was an awper posted up Ivy, and obviously having a smoke missing like that is huge for him because he can basically kill the whole team as they cross onto the bomb site. The way Joe plays this round is simple but useful, and it's basically a mix of baiting his teammates a little bit, I suppose. But from this guy's angle, as the two teammates, Viscous and Brips, are kind of jumping over this angle here to try and obviously get the bomb down, get more positioning on the map, he waits for those two to cross first before going for a pick like this, and it makes it extremely difficult for this awper to be able to get that shot because he's obviously his aim is being baited to look towards the two teammates that are jumping over, making it much more easy for Lep or Joe to get a very easy kill and basically secure the round for his team because he's got the entry pick just before the smokes have bloomed, which means there's immediately a man down on site, and then gets the Ivy pick on the guy that's pretty much controlling the whole cross onto the bomb site. So really 2 important impact frags for that round. So I'm just going to show you it from the awper's perspective. So I'm just going to slow down what happens here because a lot happens quite quickly. Basically this is the pick first of all. Just this guy playing out of position, shouldn't have really been there, but now we're going to see how Joe uses his teammates here. and how Very kind of gets baited into peeking into Joe's ult. So he's holding this angle, quite a tight angle, quite a safe angle to hold really. That smoke missing gives him a huge window of opportunity to be able to kill one of us. I firstly jump across, he misses that shot there, and then Joe peeks just as his aim is rescoping. So in that scenario there really wasn't a way in which that guy was going to get that kill. Joe does die very quickly after then to that guy peeking aggressively, but at that point we've already got the bomb down, we can play post bounce, and this round is pretty much over. So there's definitely 2 impact frags, 1 pick at the beginning there at stop sign, and that Ivy kill definitely sealed this round. So finally, I'm just going to talk about something very simple. It's dealing with ecos as an awper on this map specifically. We know they're going to be ecoing this round, so Joe is playing a little bit more passive in team mid. Really, he doesn't even have to be in team mid, but he's holding passive. He's aware they could push aggressively. Again, peeking just before the smokes bloom, just to see if he can get any early information. Doesn't want to commit too hard to any angles. He is a very aggressive player though, so he does end up pushing into this position. Again, we know they're ecoing, using that flame to be able to kind of mask his steps. Gets a very aggressive kill. Insanely, you could call it lucky, you could call it skill, I don't know, but he gets that kill again. Just securing the round, being able to deal with those ecos. Playing aggressive when he knows the time is right, kind of using his individual skill and knowing that he can quite easily get those kills.